How's it going everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in today's video, due to popular demand, we're going to be ranking all 18 heroes and villains together to determine the worst and best of them all. Now, I have ranked both the heroes and the villains separately, and they've done pretty well, and I couldn't ignore the request to rank them all together. So in the comments, be sure to let me know your picks of the worst and the best heroes and villains in Battlefront 2. And by the end of the video, we'll see where your choices end up. Now, another disclaimer before this video starts. I expect people to get triggered over this list. It's basically impossible to avoid. But something to keep in mind, no hero or villain is bad, useless, or incapable of getting a kill streak. All heroes and villains are good in their own right. It's just something to keep in mind when you see your favorite hero towards the bottom of the list. But enough of that, let's just dive straight into the list. So kicking off this video at the number 18 spot and taking the crown as the worst hero slash villain in Star Wars Battlefront 2, we have Finn. Now, stressing again, he's not useless and you can do well with him, but Finn for me is just really hit and miss. His blaster, as I've previously mentioned, has the most awkward recoil of any blaster in the game. I believe that Finn is a supportive hero done wrong. Yoda is a supportive hero done right. Therefore, Finn takes the crown of the worst hero slash villain in Battlefront 2. So onto the number 17 spot on the list, we have Boba Fett. Now, a lot of people rush to Boba Fett's defense in my villains ranking video. He's not useless and the capability to get big kill streaks is there. But for a lot of people, Boba is one of the most disposable heroes in the game. People say he's as useful as he was in the original films, and I tend to agree. His rocket barrage is great, don't get me wrong, I can't deny that. But his concussion missile isn't effective enough, and his jetpack is super awkward to control, so short and sweet, Boba Fett takes the number 17 spot. And now moving on to number 16, we have another villain and Captain Phasma. So Phasma is certainly useful as a team-based villain in Heroes vs Villains. If your team is sticking together, you can make a strong point with your droid, and it makes it a lot harder for the enemy team to take out the target. But if you go off by yourself, then it's going to be extremely tough to stay alive and get kills in the process. She's serviceable in Galactic Assault, but Heroes vs Villains is definitely Phasma's stronger game mode. And now moving on, and at number 15 we have Chewy. So Chewy is an interesting one because he's practically useless in Galactic Assault, but can be very good in Heroes vs Villains. But still not quite as good as he was in Heroes vs Villains basically, but any hero with a stun ability can't be underestimated. If you get stunned around Chewy and the player is on the ball, you can get totally melted. His bowcaster does have a relatively slow fire rate and villains can close you down quickly, and if you can't stun them, then it's going to be tough to walk out of the fight alive. But nevertheless, Chewy, very decent in Heroes vs Villains, not quite as good as he once was, but definitely useless in Galactic Assault. So moving on, and a villain this time, and a lightsaber hero, we have Kylo Ren at number 14. Now Kylo is pretty fun to play as. His force pull is a ton of fun, and combined with the freeze once your enemies hit the ground followed by activating the frenzy, it can be really effective. But there's a lot of inconsistencies with his lightsaber swings and sometimes the frenzy. I swear half of the swings you make don't actually do any damage. But you'll play with him 5 minutes later and he'll be totally fine. Like, I really like Kylo when he's working well. He can be one of the most enjoyable villains to use. I just wish his damage output was more consistent. And moving on to the number 14 spot, we have Kylo Ren's daddy, obviously Han Solo. Now this is another one that people didn't agree with when I ranked the light side heroes. People thought he was too low. I'm just saying Han is good, like he is. His Steel 44 is powerful and his Detonite charge is amazing when it does work. But his sharpshooter ability leaves him too still and vulnerable to take damage. And if you've got a half decent player around you, they're just going to get behind you, you can't really do anything about it, and you're going to take a lot of damage. Also, his shoulder charge is extremely stiff to use, to say the least. It's good if you've got a ton of people right in front of you, but it is very awkward nevertheless. But don't get me twisted, Han is a good hero. I just think the ones above him are better. But with that said, moving on to number 12, we have Han's old buddy, Lando. Now, Lando can be extremely good if he's in the hands of the right player. The reason I put him above Han is his sharp shot ability. It's one of the easiest abilities to rack up kills and get yourself going as a hero. His smoke and X8 Night Sniper combo is very good if done right, and he of course has a stun ability, and we all know how ridiculous that they can be in Heroes vs Villains especially. And I said it before, but heroes with stun abilities just can't be underestimated. And just outside the top 10, we have another light side hero in Leia. So Leia is a solid hero. And she is very effective on Geonosis, and she is low-key an animal in Heroes vs Villains. All of her abilities and her blaster work perfectly in tandem. Her squad shield isn't really useful in Heroes vs Villains, but in Galactic Assault it's a different story. It's extremely useful for both team play and to give yourself a bit of cover when getting cross-map kills with the secondary fire. She's got a really good balance of usefulness across both game modes, which is very valuable as a hero, so therefore I put her above Lando and Han. But now, kicking off the top 10, we have a villain this time in Iden Versio. Now, Iden is a damn good villain and one of the biggest pains in the arse in Heroes vs Villains. Her droid stun ability is probably the best stunning ability in the game. Her TL50 is brutal and the secondary fire can just about one-shot troopers in Galactic Assault. And in Heroes vs Villains, if you have a lightsaber enemy constantly blocking, then she can simply just secondary fire them at their feet and inflict damage. So a hero that can cause damage to lightsaber users whilst they're blocking is something that definitely shouldn't fly under the radar. That's a really effective thing. But either way, Iden should not be underestimated in this game, and a lot of people are starting to figure out how good she really is. But now, another villain at the number 9 spot, we have Emperor Palpatine. Months ago, he'd be an undisputed number 1 on the list, as he was just damn broken. Although he's nerfed, he's still a very good villain, and they now have the balancing right. It does feel pretty rough putting him all the way at number 9, as he, like I said guys, he's a damn good hero. But I mean, he's just not impossible to kill anymore, but can still outlay a ton of damage, and can be one of the best villains for Galactic Assault. And in the hands of a very good killstreak player, he can still dish up some huge kill streaks. So a nerfed Palpatine is coming in at a very strong number 9. Now onto the number 8 spot, we have our little green friend, Grandmaster Yoda. Now Yoda is constantly improving in Battlefront 2. Across of course both Galactic Assault and Heroes vs Villains. Now I used to totally hate Yoda. Now I can say with confidence that he's one of the best heroes in the game. He's extremely effective due to his size and his team role type playstyle. He has the perfect balance between being a support hero and an attacking hero. He can do both, so he suits any player's playstyle. And it's going to be exciting to see what some of the best players are going to be able to do with him over the next few months, provided he doesn't receive any tweaks in upcoming patches. But now moving on to number 7, and we have one of the recent additions in Battlefront 2, General Grievous. Now, Grievous is definitely one of the more powerful heroes in Battlefront 2. If you have him fully upgraded, you're going to do some damage with him for sure. I mean, he can practically 3-shot heroes, and that's rare amongst heroes and villains in this game. His unrelenting advance still needs work though. It's very easy to flank him when the ability is active and just melt him completely. His thrust surge also is still really hit and miss, but the combination of the claw rush and his lightsaber swings literally carries him to being one of the better villains in the game. It's honestly going to be really scary to see how good he's going to be when all the abilities work flawlessly, so until that day, let's just pray that it's not too overpowered. And another new hero at number 6, we have Obi Wan Kenobi. Now, if Luke and Rey had a baby on this game, then Obi Wan would be the direct result. He's got good abilities that still need to be fine-tuned, don't get me wrong, but a fully upgraded Obi Wan is a force to be reckoned with. He's very good in Galactic Assault, probably not as good in Heroes vs Villains, but certainly very capable. And much like Grievous, when Obi Wan's abilities get fine-tuned, it's going to be scary how good he's going to be. With a few abilities that don't run like clockwork, the fact that he's as good as he is a testament to his effectiveness on the battlefront. But now into the top 5, and we have Luke Skywalker. And it's fair to say Luke definitely wasn't great in the first half of this game's release, but he's slowly gotten better as the game has progressed. Luke is turning into an extremely solid hero in this game. The only issue he has is sometimes he has abilities that just don't work. In particular his force push. Now, they have his rush and repulse ability just about perfect, but the only issue is his force push can be unreliable. But with the right star cards, Luke is right up there in terms of heroes for this game. Some of the kill streaks I've seen for Luke have been really impressive, and is definitely a hero you should not shy away from upgrading. Because I gotta tell you man, when Luke's force push is fixed and working like clockwork, it's really gonna be scary how good Luke's gonna be. So cracking into the top 4, we have Darth Maul. Now, it feels bad to have Darth Maul at number 4 because he's a hero I could easily put at number 1, as he is one of the most well-rounded and balanced heroes in the game. The only issue that I've ever had with Darth Maul is for a long time his saber throw is just, sometimes a little bit dodgy. But Darth Maul is without a doubt one of, if not the funnest hero to use in Battlefront 2, and for that reason alone, I'd completely understand why he'd be anyone's favourite hero in the game. But now time for the top 3, and taking out the bronze medal at 3rd place we have Bossk. Now, in a list that's very lightsaber hero heavy in the top half, Bossk carries the torch for blaster heroes here on the list. Now, in my villains ranking video, I did see a lot of people say that Bossk is really easy to kill. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with that. If a Bossk is easy to kill, it's because of the player behind it. Bossk is very difficult to kill due to his trip mines and his weird floating jumping animation. It's just easy to stay away from lightsaber heroes with the combination of the two, but you need to keep jumping, and if you do, they're not going to get you. Not to mention the Dioxis grenade to flush the hero out of the area. It's pretty simple stuff. And his Relby also has the perfect mix of shotgun and sniper, and with 3 abilities that work extremely well on top of that, Bossk in hindsight has just got to be the best blaster hero in the game. But that is of course subjective and people will disagree, which is totally fine. But taking out the silver medal and the runner-up as the best hero slash villain in Battlefront 2, we have Rey. Now those of you who have been with me for a long time on my channel know that it kills me not to put Rey at number 1, as she is my personal favourite. But I simply cannot ignore the number 1 hero. But more about that later. And anyway, Rey with the right star card setup is just next level. And with the right combination of abilities, is just one of the best heroes you can use for both Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault. She has the perfect star card loadout for each game mode and they work very well. And I mean, she has it all. There's only a few things that separate her from the top spot hero, and that hero, and at the number 1 spot we have Darth Vader. So Darth Vader tops it off as the number 1 ranked hero slash villain in Star Wars Battlefront 2. He's just a goddamn tank, and his health and damage output is basically just unprecedented. If you put 2 evenly matched players up against each other and one of them is Darth Vader, it's pretty hard to see Vader not coming out on top. Skill is of course always going to be the deciding factor no matter what, as any hero can be any hero, but you are certainly playing the odds with Vader. He's a total beast, and the only flaw to his gameplay is his vulnerability with his force choke, but with the stupid amount of health he has and the ability to regain the health back anyway, he's just a hero health machine and is extremely hard to take down. And combine that with some amazing and powerful abilities, I just had to give the number 1 spot to Darth Vader. So guys, that was all 18 Battlefront 2 heroes and villains ranked from worst to best. Finn comes in as the worst and Darth Vader as the best. Now again, no hero on this list is bad or totally useless, and in rankings videos, the heroes, they've got to go somewhere, and it sucks that some have to be so low. But guys, that just about does it for this video. This is probably the longest video I've made in a while, so I'm going to wrap it up nice and quick. So if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And stay tuned, as I will be streaming in a few hours time, so whack that notification bell on so you don't miss a thing. But with that being said, that does it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again real soon.